didn't see you there. Welcome back. Right now it's 8:30 p.m. I would like to apologize for anyone who was expecting an 11 p.m. show. It might be a little bit after that, depending on how much content I choose to film. Quite frankly, I am slightly exhausted from continuous repetition of the same subject matter with very little resolution. It's not my style. Just want to apologize to everyone. I'm going to freshen it up tonight. There's only so much tolerance a human being has. While at the same time, I want to express to everyone, at no point do I advocate, will I ever conduct myself in a violent or abusive manner. No matter how many times I get a finger pointed at me, my content will continue to be true to the core of who I am. In order for you to understand that, you must understand that it takes a lot of balls to stand up here and continuously produce content on behalf of the American people that are being routinely bullied as well as lied to. A couple of things that I found to be interesting after reviewing the video from this afternoon's footage. First and foremost, I look a little gay. I know, which is cool. And I get it. Currently I'm not gay, but that doesn't mean that I need to hide from the fact that I'm wearing pink lace Balenciaga boots, my wrist is flat in some of the scenes, and I quite frankly look like a giant lesbian. Even though I've identified as a lesbian for the last 5 years, I am not a homosexual. I do want to say that this conversation is one that really should be had with children as they progress into their adolescence, because when you repress homosexuality conversation, not the actual tendencies or the feelings, that's free to do whatever you want. This is the United States of America and it's 2026. But the repressed feelings is how you get to serial killers and murderers. Guys, I know that what I have to say, nobody wants to talk about. But the sad reality of the world that we live in is that a big portion of the school shootings conducted in the United States over the last decade have been done by transgender and sexually confused adolescents who are children of both domestic violence as well as very dangerous and hostile environments where they were raised unchecked by the social system. And when I say that, I really do advocate on a peaceful resolution, because there are no winners in this endless circle jerk of litigation. I've been a business owner for decades prior to engaging in the business of litigation. And I will tell you that it is an extremely important part of the modern day business world, while at the same time, I am appalled at how corrupt and inefficient the modern day court system is, while being a tax-funded entity that we, as citizens of the United States, and even though I've been having financial issues for a couple of years, it doesn't mean that I didn't contribute tens of $millions of taxable revenue and paid my share into this pot, a lot more than 99% of anyone that's watching this. And I paid it forward, and I've made these ridiculous sacrifices, and my properties, a lot of them have been just stolen flat out from me. And I take all of this. You know why? Because I am an example of how to professionally lose, stand up, recover, and regain footing. And I know that most of you fear what I have to say, because the fear of failure will prevent a human from ever trying. And I say this to the audience as well as my two boys, Drake and Pierce. And on that note, I'm going to cut this segment, and we're going to go to the first segment of tonight's show. Oh, I forgot to do Jamie's job. Today is December, not to be confused with July or June or January, I don't know what months I said in the previous segment, but December 29th. Right now it is, I'm getting better at filming by myself. And I will tell you that I believe that the best content will come out in time. Right now it's, let's say, 8:30, and we are in the movie segment of the opening. These are my business models as well as a series of very, 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 very true statements that will make your jaw drop if you continue to watch tonight's episode. I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be right back. Good evening, Jamie.
Good evening, Daniel.
I see you've elected to stay in the shadows tonight, and that's okay.
I have. I'm trying to hide my face now.
At what point in the show should I start to alert the audience that you're very sick and at any time can really get even sicker, and the removal of your children from their natural habitat of being around their mother has caused a massive, massive disruption to your mental state, meaning that your mental state now affects your physical state, and Jamie's really not well, guys. And I don't understand how, like, what do you want her to do? Be dead for me to say, like, hey, listen, she was really sick at this time. She just chose not to talk about it until I had enough, and I'm just filming this and letting everyone know that
I'm actually live.
It's really fucking sick, man. So one thing that I really want to do is use some of this segments to interject into the show, and we started talking earlier today about, all right, look, obviously you all want me to just fucking rail into the truth about what's going on. We'll get to that in a little bit, but right now it's 6:20. I gotta go to Chipotle. Well, I don't have to, but tonight's dinner is Chipotle, right? It's a fancy. You don't watch South Park, right?
I don't. I never could get on the
Do you think
South
if
Park train.
If I can tell you a really disturbing thing that is in South Park, it won't ruin tonight's dinner? Or
yeah,
do you think it will ruin
I don't
tonight's
have
dinner?
much of an appetite anyway, but tell
All
me
right.
so I won't.
So Eric Cartman really loves Chipotle.
Okay.
And he's the fat one.
Okay.
And I swear to God, Jamie, you'll never meet a human being that is more like Eric Cartman than Scott Levenberg in real life.
Really?
Yes, but to be friends with someone like that in real life is very disturbing as a human being. He only did 7 years in a federal prison for conning the elderly.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has the balls to call me names.
Trust me. It blows my mind when I see what he writes to
Wait,
when
so
he chat.
so the best part is that Eric Cartman loved Chipotle so much, but he has one problem, and that is that his underwear keeps staining with shit.
Oh God!
Because the food. So he creates a food made as seen on TV product.
Okay.
And he pretends to be Billy Mays with like the beard and everything, and he creates something called Chipotle Way. Do you love Chipotle? Do you hate the stains that it leaves in your underwear?
Oh my God!
I'm telling
Wait
you.
a minute.
And
would it be funny if someone wrote a jingle about something that wipes your ass?
I don't think it would be funny. But regarding something that I do in the videos, that I noticed in the videos, I'm stuffed up, I'm getting over a cold, and when I go through bouts of being sick, I get on the shit. I become addicted to Afrin, and it causes me, and I'm extremely hypersensitive because of the things that have been written about me and the things that have been said about me that are just not true. And
not true. Plus, you've been running around.
I don't even
doing the job of two people because I've been down for the count. So like between the snowstorms,
pretty nice. Shovel the whole driveway, except around the firewood.
You know, like helping your friend as she, used in a bucket. You really are outdone yourself as a friend and just a really amazing human being. So.
Whoa, Jamie, I really think you might disturb the sensitive narrative that I'm a drug addict and mentally ill.
I know. As you literally run around. I mean, shoveling the driveway.
Listen, I gotta be honest with you. If everyone was mentally ill like me and could produce what I produce, we would live in an amazing society of mentally ill, happy, productive. I don't think I'm mentally ill. I think it's really unfair, and I'm taking it in stride. Yeah. And it's a very, very serious thing. Look, I'll explain to you something.
You've been really grounded and calm. I have to say.
What did I
so
tell me? Ask me what are some of the best things that I've learned in my 24 days in county jail. And remember, like I went to jail like 15 years ago.
What are the best things you learned in 24 days in county jail? Or what are some of the things?
I've learned a lot. So I've learned the balance of life. But unlike the Buddhist monks, I found the balance of life in the how ugly the female inmates are, because 50% of them are men and they're like really street trannies, and then the other 50% are just really busted women. So you get this like average, a solid 3.5, and she has so much confidence. She has so much confidence, like with her hair somehow done or not done. It doesn't even matter.
The whole like idea of where you were at the Essex County Correctional Facility. So, I mean, I can't.
Yeah, I was in jail.
Yeah, like how much
For not committing any crimes.
It's really horrible what you went through, and I know you're trying to make light of it. And
well, look,
you're trying to make humor
Mallory's
and
attorneys told her what to do. She did it, and the courts bought it. And I think that the whole point is, if I was a weaker man, I would fold.
Yeah.
And I would not be able to do it. But you've got the wrong guy. You've got a very strong man. And what doesn't kill me only makes me stranger. And I think that it's important for me to finish my thought. And I would like to say a couple of things before we walk into this establishment and continue filming. There needs to be some semblance of logic that's interjected in some form of my life. So if you're not going to be able to do it, I'm just going to do it for you guys. And I've given everyone so much leeway, so much time, so much effort. And there's just no end in sight. And I'll explain to you. What Mallory and her team want is on top of a pile of garbage that not only I have to deal with, I have to film content where I explain to 8 million people that live in the state of New Jersey that their justice system and their political system is so corrupt that I'm able to film this content and no one gives a fuck. That's how sick we are as a state. I haven't even gone to the national level. The county of Essex is vile in their interpretation of the role that they play in people's personal lives versus a state of protection. I have never gone to the government for any assistance. I was always very afraid of this exact ramification where a human being like myself comes forward as, like, straight up, man, I got the shit beat out of me. I kept it to myself. I was really embarrassed. I was really humiliated. And rather than, first off, my adversary already admitted in court to the crimes. So she's going to have a very hard time with upcoming time. And I think that it's very important for people to understand that there's a big difference between going on YouTube and baselessly threatening someone, which I have never done, versus standing up for yourself. Right. And what you have never seen is a human stand up for themselves. Bullies destroy people. So when you have a bully saying, why, like, how dare he stand up for himself?
I think it's because you stand up for yourself very clearly and coherently, and you're able to speak for as long as you are on camera, which I think that anyone else getting bullied, I mean, like, I can barely get up on camera and hang with you for 22 minutes, you know, it's very stressful.
Forget about 22 minutes. I just made a 6-hour movie.
I know.
4 days ago.
So
22 minutes doesn't exist anymore. I've broken the plane of time and space. So you can have a 15-hour video. You can have a 4-minute video. It does not matter. It's absolutely irrelevant. You will miss it.
In a second.
Yeah, that's right. So, for example, there's an entire concept of how do you make money. What are you supposed to do? Go get a job, whatever. Right. So I'm going to very clearly express to everyone on the way home exactly how to change your entire life around in 30 days or less in the business world if you have 2 factors. 1, the talent to actually perform on the level that I'm going to describe. And I would like to express to everyone that 99% of you that are watching this should not watch this if you believe that you have the talent to create a multi-billion-dollar business, because you do not. What you have is the talent to create a $10, $15 million business in $26. It's very important you understand that inflation and, you know, adverse ratios and things like that are very important things to understand when you're talking about money. And a $10 to $15 million business, look at that car.
Oh my God.
That's right. I mean, look, this person is expressing themselves. It's a car that's completely covered in Christmas lights.
I mean, he probably shouldn't skied. Get a ticket right away. Like, oh, look at that.
East Hanover Police. Do you remember the Verizon incident?
Police.
Jesus Christ. So in general, on January 1st, I would like to really have a clean start in my life. In order to do that, I must adhere to some basic principles of game theory and gamesmanship. And I mean, it's war strategy, but I'm an advocate of nonviolence. I don't believe that hitting people is ever the answer. And the ironic part about that is that I am the one that's accused of being both violent as well as somehow adversarial, both in courts or against the parties. And the longer I go without doing anything, the more it shows that this is a fully made up story, all designed to discredit me. So without further ado, let's go get some Chipotle.
Let's do it.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
Peace out, son.
Let's go.
All right, I'm back. Reality is that I like to make the cuts because of a bunch of small segments I gotta scoot in there. And I find it to be really, really fascinating how few human beings are able to accept reality in the digital world. That the fact of the matter is, and I say that in reference to my brother-in-law Jordan Blask, who would fill words in. He's an attorney, in case I didn't mention that. That's a fancy word for a person that speaks. Truthfully, I've learned a lot. And one thing that I've learned is that in classical warfare, a human being who finds himself under duress and has the ability to make strategic position moves in order to advance their position finds themselves being their own worst enemy. What that means: human beings like myself develop these massive egos that prevent them from seeing clearly in extreme stressful situations. So in moments like this, human beings tend to be irrational and make quick-sighted decisions that they regret in the long term. In the short term, they might seem like a good idea. So in the short term, it might seem like a good idea to just continuously hammer away at these lawsuits. But in reality, the truth of the matter is, it is much better to drop 3/4 of the active litigation and reconcentrate forces and focus on the matters that can be adjudicated and resolved the fastest, and then go back to the other matters that are within the jurisdictional time frame. And I want to expand on that and note that even though there is a statute of limitation in regards to civil matters, there is also an extension of that statute by virtue of being a victim of fraud. And I understand that many of you have a very, very hard fucking time accepting the reality that you just didn't like how much I shined. And that's okay. I get it. I fucking get it. I wouldn't like it either. And I want to express to everyone the gratitude that I really have for allowing me to see clearly past the fog and past the bullshit and say that, look, no human being can ever earn a legitimate source of aggregated wealth when they're being hammered at all ends with continuous litigation or the suppression of the truth in favor of the lies that will cover up criminality. So for me, what happened was really some ballsy stuff. And one thing that I'm really proud of is that I'm a non-violent person. I never showed up at anyone's house. I never threatened anyone. Never did a single thing. I just simply let the wheels of justice collapse. And what that means is that as a human being who has extensive experience working in the resolution of complex matters, and that's one thing that I maybe did not address in the previous segments. I have spent my entire life trying to help people and do good. Why on earth would I ever do that, only to turn around and be some sort of a psychotic monster in my house? This is not true. And I find that to be an extremely telling part of this entire point of why the people closest to me would like to suppress the truth in favor of lies. And I can tell you why. Because the truth that I say is very, very powerful. And I understand that most of you feel a little uncomfortable being this close to the camera. And a lot of you judge me for being insane or really put me down, laugh at me. But all that shows me is that your misunderstanding speaks volumes as to your lack of emotional quotient, as well as your general inability to accept that not everyone is going to just take it sitting down. My name is Daniel M. Rhesus. I'm just not the kind of dad you want to fuck with. And I don't say that in a threatening manner. I'm never going to hurt anyone. What I'm going to do is really expose the lies in a very organic and entertaining fashion. And you're going to have to take it, because the time for words is just elapsing. I'm losing days, weeks, months. I have no ability to have goons show up or hurt anyone. That is an illusion that you create in your mind based on my strength of character. It's an illusion. You watch too many shows, too many movies. I am a good man. I'm a good father. I worked my ass off my entire life. I'm a federal agent who fucking killed himself during 18 events over the last 2.5 decades. Give me a fucking break, man. You guys have no clue of what it actually takes to produce content while at the same time working your ass off and managing one of the most stressful litigation lexicon. And one of the reasons why I'm opting to drop certain cases and focus on my efforts on other cases is because I'm only 43 years old. I want to live a good life. I want to raise my boys. I want to be in their life. I have no idea what my wife and her family are thinking. I can't really get into their mindset, but I will tell you that once I was able to really understand the part where I heard the testimony, as well as I read some of the stuff that's being written about me, and I'm sorry, like, Mal's really mean, man. Like, that's a really mean human being. It takes a certain type of individual to put your own husband and his work down publicly while at the same time demanding some sort of a massive windfall financially. It's ballsy, on top of which there's another $500,000 that's floating missing, and there is a reason why what I am saying is extremely powerful, is because all of you want to deny that you have created this support system in order to put me down, and that's cool. The truth is that all this is able to do is show my resilience, and I would like to show it over the next month or so. And it is something that I've always wanted to display, but I also knew that it took a little bit of time. Working in an environment that's as hostile as what was created for me before is simply not an attainable atmosphere of creativity. There is no way out. And that's why I really don't want to engage in this heavy litigation schedule anymore. I only want to focus my efforts on the cases that really are 100% winners, and I am extremely offended by the continuous deprivation of my litigants' rights, as well as complete trampling of the due process, and you might as well wipe your ass with the U.S. Constitution the way I and Jamie Resnick are being treated. And there is an entire silent majority of human beings. They might not be white, but they are human beings, and they're strong and they're powerful, and they're tired of also being bullied. And I know that I'm probably one of the first white guys to stand up here and say, listen, the system is really, really broken. And I guess it took me, I had to come off of this Livingston high horse and get into the weeds. I spent 24 days in jail, and right now, instead of going off on an angry monologue, watch this.
Where are we at? Are you afraid to dance in public?
Me? No.
You know what's funny?
I just a little woozy.
You okay?
Yeah.
You lost a lot of weight.
What happened? Stress, sickness. Sponsored.
I really
by
miss my.
Major League Baseball. Joking.
Really? That's from.
No, but it's really funny. I got this hat. When did the Dodgers win the World Series? 2 years ago?
I don't know. Maybe.
And Crosby and I had this bet. And I was like, I'm going to pick the Dodgers hat. And he's like, well, I'm going to get the Yankee hat or whatever.
Yeah.
We'll see. Guess he won.
You know, another great line from the show was, just because you see a few Yankees, that doesn't mean it's a Major League Baseball game or something like that. Oh, man. Sorry you can't come in, bro. He wanted Chipotle, but it's no dice. No, it's just a win. It creates a vacuum. No. It's a natural thing. It creates a vacuum. And,
I know it always happens in Livingston, Town Hall, at that one door.
Oh, I'm thirsty. I'm hungry.
It's nice to be out in the real world for after a couple of days.
I wasn't sick, but I'm glad that, I don't want to say anything. I think people's personal health is extremely sensitive matter, and I think that it's really a shame that your ex-husband can do what he has done, and it's a shame that we live in a world of fear.
Upset over the holidays.
Yeah,
They're not with us.
and it's not just that. It's just that I can look and judge myself. I definitely, after listening to today's court transcript, because the thing is, when I did it, I kind of like wanted to vomit and shower at the same time. You ever have that feeling? Yeah. So, and then I couldn't even get through more than half of it, and it was like, it was so difficult.
Yeah, you were like not having an easy time.
Well, I'm going to pause, and I'm going to just save some of that for explanation on the whiteboard regarding what I do talk about.
I think it's like very difficult because like you and I know the truth, and so when we talk about it and we hear people say other things, you're like, it's very frustrating when you hear.
Well, it's lie after lie after lie,
You're
and
like-
it gets worse and worse and worse, because no matter what I say or do, I am constantly being portrayed, all in a motivating factor, to take millions of dollars from me.
As evil. And land of good versus evil.
All right, let's focus. Let's carne asada. I think I might do the carne asada today. What do you think you're gonna
I'm
get?
going to simple. I'm like white rice and chicken.
White rice and chicken.
Yeah, I think maybe a little guac I'll try. I don't know. I gotta take it easy. It does look good though. But I'm gonna go chicken.
I'm gonna get the steak quesadilla and the chips. No, maybe burrito. I always regret not getting the burrito.
I'm gonna be this person. I can't eat East Coast burritos. West Coast burritos are just better burritos, hands down.
I get it. You're not gonna be that person, but when I was doing Pierce Bainbridge, everything was shut down, and they had these 2 street carts, and I know a lot of people say, like, I stopped the world for this burrito. No, I literally,
No,
we
literally.
were in the middle of the most important narrative in the country. Like, pause. I gotta go get burritos. And
They're just better.
it was like the most stressful thing in the entire country we were in the middle of. And me, Andrew Calderon, and Vahe Misrape would just sit and eat these burritos and enjoy this Coke. And it was so blissful. We were on the, 20th floor. Everything was empty. It was almost surreal. It didn't even feel like, it didn't feel real. I don't know, wherever Vahe and Andrew
I
are.
imagine it's like eating pizza in New York, or in New Jersey. It's like eating burritos. Like,
So-
Californians can't do pizza, I'm sorry. You only have good pizza here.
Which is very, very funny. That's why every time I watch Stranger Things, they keep referring to the California pizza guy, and he's like, "Hey, taste with pineapple." And there's,
Thank you.
like ham, pineapple. I think there was a point. That's when I knew I lost my brother, when he started introducing the Hawaiian pizza, and I was like, "Mark, but like you don't like this. No one likes this."
Was he liking it ironically? No, he was really liking it.
Well, I just remember, I really want to not say the story, but my brother and his wife were just so lame that they, when they go to Cleveland to visit their parents and Thanksgiving, this part is not lame. Like visiting your parents and Thanksgiving, not lame at all. Spending time with them, but meeting up. They have this tradition of either, like the morning of Thanksgiving or the day before Thanksgiving.
Like a run or something.
No, they do a pie breakfast where everyone brings a pie
And he eats pie for breakfast?
for her and her high school friends.
Like dessert pie, like apple pie.
I don't know. I made it past. I couldn't make it past the point of listening to the
Pie
story
breakfast?
and not making fun of it, so I was never
On
invited.
Thanksgiving morning? So
There
they
was-
wake up, eat pie, then go eat Thanksgiving dinner, then have more pie?
You call Mark,
Oh yeah, sure. I'll pick up the
text him,
phone.
or walk around.
Hey, I'm back. I think it's also important for human beings who get overheated during stressful times to take a break and reflect on some of the words that are going to come out of their mouth. And here is what I decided. I need to speak to my boys. And even though they might not be able to speak back, I still will be able to send a message and feel better about myself. I haven't seen my kids in 6 months. They live a half a mile down the street in my house. I think it's complete insanity that we live in a full community of people that are totally cheering this on. There is no semblance of any logical reason why two children who I have loved and cared for my entire life should be separated from me, all because my spouse is pointing a finger. And boys, I loved your mom, I assure you. And I did not choose to leave the house. This is a matter of where there were things said about me in court, and I was kicked out of the house, and it was illegal. And I'm sorry, I'm going to go, if I have to go to the Supreme Court, I will go to the Supreme Court. I'm just not the kind of dad you want to fuck with. And I will do whatever it takes to prove my love, devotion, loyalty, and commitment to my two boys. Whatever it takes. It doesn't matter, because once again, this is a very strong teachable moment, because I'm raising men in a world of liars and cowards. And I need to show them that the true strength of a man comes not when everything is amazing, but who are you when the chips fall? Where do you stand when all is lost and you must stand up or die, pretty much on your sword? Because the position that I'm taking is one that is my final position. I have made my decisions on where my life is going, what I plan on doing, and I do not plan on going absolutely anywhere. I plan on watching my children graduate Livingston High School. I plan on doing this honorably. I plan on being an example for an entire fucking community of people who want to say the things that I say, but do not have the strength of character and conviction. But they need to be able to at least feel better about themselves, that there is one human being that's fighting back against the rip current of BS. And when I was a child, I saw my father get destroyed by this very, very same thing. I would personally be very proud of my father if he had the strength to publicly denounce the horrible things that he had to go through, while at the same time having the intelligence and the maneuverability, quickness in the real world to do something about it. And that's what I would like to really convey to my two boys, is that, boys, when you find yourself in a pile of shit like I do, you got, I guess, two choices: to take it or leave it. And I definitely am not going to take the shit, but at the same time, I also want to remind everyone that engages in these year-long litigation battles with their spouses is that you miss really valuable time with your kids. And no matter how many times I try to advocate for a peaceful resolution, as well as, expressing that this channel cannot be silenced, even if you want to break the law, because I will use what you have done as a basic example of why we live in the United States and why freedom of speech is such an important part of our life as American citizens. Why else would you tolerate so much bullshit if it were not for the civil liberties that we are awarded? But that's not the way it goes. You see, this story It starts with me in the bottom. I gotta claw my way through the bullshit and fight my way to the top. And it doesn't matter how many times you find yourself being struck down, boys. Oh man, it's fucking hot in here. Where does he keep the temperature? Good Lord. Whew. I don't know if it's like me being just flat out angry with the circumstances of the situation. And I've had enough. I've absolutely had enough. I can't tolerate this air of legitimacy while completely ignoring the reality that on my last arrest, first off, I've been arrested 5 times. I want to remind everyone, and it's insane. But boys, on my last arrest, I was told that I'm dangerous when I'm not dangerous. They had this Jun Yoon, completely psychotic prosecutor, go to the judge and say that I am some sort of a menace to my own family. First and foremost, I'm a father. Everything that I have done is in conjunction with a normal parenting routine as well as a logic-based parenting decision, such as tracking devices for kids in a digital world where not only is it available, it's a totally normal thing, as well as really consideration for dual rights of both parents. I just don't have the ability to rationalize any further than seeing that, okay, we looked at the movie The Beast in Me, and, you know, it's a show, whatever. And we were able to really understand, okay, this is how it works. You all see me as a character very similar to this human being. In reality, that's not who I am. But I've taken full advantage of that by being able to, I wouldn't say make a mockery of your inability to distinguish between movies and reality. I would say I expose you for who you truly are, which is mean people who really do some terrible things in the shadows. And, for example, tonight's episode, boys, a lot of what I have to do focuses on exposing criminals and corrupt politicians at a very high level, and it's a little complicated. And a lot of people, by the way, speaking of addiction, I think I might be addicted to lip balm. And that goes along with the whole, you know, who I am as a human being. I'm just comfortable in my own skin. I've had a very, very long 5 years, not something that I've ever been used to. I had to really understand what other people were thinking prior to engaging in my final position, because frankly, as a 43-year-old man, I'm not getting any younger, and there is absolutely no, good Lord, I gotta take a break. I'm dying from the heat over here. Give me a break.
Time no see.
How is the pie breakfast? All right, come on. Good for Chipotle, you know. And when we're in the car, I'll talk about the various aspects of the business and the timestamps that I'm going to put on the schedule of how to get your ass in gear very, very quickly. A lot of it has to do with basic fundamentals and the principles of business. So you ever see Back to School? You know, I call you Mark Sweetwater for a reason. No, it says I'm Mark Sweetwater, Thornton Mellon's personal secretary.
Please.
Tell Mr. Mellon
The following.
if he thinks.
I love
Got a shout out to, what is your name? Valentine. Amazing. She ran the line and now she got promoted to manager. I was here. She had a Spanish woman that was her manager. I don't remember her name. Rosa, maybe? And I'm really glad to see Chipotle promoting from within and, like, I don't know, nothing but positive things to say about my experience. Look at what a pro she is. All business, no conversation, gets it done perfectly. You know what? I like Chipotle, Jamie, and I don't need to fly to California. All you have to do is not eat Mexican food for like 4 months, then it tastes amazing. That's the trick. You don't want to overdo it. It's like Chinese food. People go too far, too fast.
I remember when I first started working here, and I had got fired because I was still in high school, so my schedule wasn't aligned.
I was fired from Panavino down the street 3 times when I grew up in Livingston. I just want you to know
All
that.
those days, I was like, I want Chipotle so bad, and I'm like,
I know.
I came back, I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't.
What have I done?
Best days of my life.
But I will agree with you, because as long as you don't overdo it and you like want it for a reason, you're a very honest person. Valentina or Valentine?
Valentine.
All right, I gotta go. All right, what I do is don't apologize. You're awesome. All right, people are apologizing. I don't understand why. She's a super professional, hardworking person who's been managing people as a job my entire life. I know the difference between a hardworking asset to a corporation like Chipotle versus a leechmonger who is trouble waiting to happen. And that woman, that is a pro. I recommend, I don't know if McDonald's still owns Chipotle or what's going on with their corporate structure. Probably a hedge fund spun it off. They knew what they were doing. Oh, look at that line.
Jamie's great. Jamie's great and everything, but like staying here is like the sister I never wanted. I mean, she really is my best friend, and she has been extremely instrumental in championing a lot of these causes. But one thing people need to really understand is that who we are on YouTube is not exactly who we are in the real world, and there's a fine line between that. But that's the line that is the difference between movies and reality. And I do, listen, I am dying of heat, okay? Look, this segment, I'm gonna fucking cut it a little bit fast. Court rulings. Who wants to deal with them, right? Am I right? You have this woman, Esther Salas. You have 3 female judges in my DV. You have a female governor. You've got a plethora of females all over the entire prosecutor's office. I am a man. I'm being discriminated against. I'm a white guy. I speak the truth. It stems from this woman, Esther Salas, okay? She's a judge. She went through some really horrific things as in her personal life, and I don't know anything about that, and I'm very sorry, but just because we have a very similar name, I am not the enemy, okay? For anyone who doesn't understand who Judge Salas is, she was personally appointed or instrumental via the appointment through Robert Menendez. For those of you who have forgotten that quickly, I am the human being who put Bob Menendez in jail for approximately a decade for being the most outlandishly corrupt and I guess embarrassing is the best way to put it. I mean, you really humiliated the entire Democratic Party as well as any human being who showed even a vote of confidence for you, let alone an actual vote. And when you have this female judge who is overseeing my cases, it's unrealistic for a human being who is in this woman's court to ever feel that they would ever have a fair shake. Because please, give me a break. Do you really think that Esther Salas, who was in high school while Bob Menendez was the mayor, and you got to follow the story, he personally grew his political career over the next 30 years. She went on to become an attorney, and then that propelled her career as a judge. There was also a couple of other things that happened, including the fact that there was a alleged FedEx driver who, believe it or not, was championing these weird male causes, and I don't do that. That's not what I do. I don't know. I don't know how I can express that I have no interest in diving into the neurological disturbance that is caused by people like Judge Salas, who should not be on the bench because of what she has gone through and her inability to properly adjudicate matters. For example, her son was unfortunately murdered by an undercover FedEx driver who apparently had some sort of a legal beef. Legal beef. He was a lawyer, and I don't know, the circumstances is very hard to read, especially because I have 2 boys of my own, and her son's name was Daniel, and believe it or not, my name is Daniel. So her and Bob Menendez created something called Daniel's Law, which is specifically prohibits human beings from accessing personal information for judges, as well as keeping the human beings that are on the bench safe. First and foremost, this isn't Batman, okay, guys? There's no Joker that's coming out of the woodworks, and no one's looking to harm. Well, I don't know of myself or anyone else that's looking to harm anyone in the judicial system, but I do know that human beings who find themselves on the bench feel extremely empowered and entitled based on nothing more than their role as a judge. And I feel that that's extremely wrong for us as a society to continuously accept. There's a big difference between understanding the judicial process and circumnavigating a courtroom, as well as being the commander of a complex trial, which is what a judge really should be focusing on, versus what I've seen, which is a very corrupt, biased system that leans 100% on the human being who is able to pay more money for attorneys who are simply willing to do what the attorneys that I hired weren't willing to do. A lot of the things that you don't understand is that I come from the world of commercial real estate. I didn't fall out of the sky as this Looney Tunes character that continuously files lawsuits. I am a commercial real estate developer whose story you just wouldn't even believe, even if you were right next to me. Rather than accepting the pitfalls of despair that come with failure, I rose above it, and what did I find? Nothing more than a new wave of haters looking to insult me, bring me down, offer zero support while demanding everything in return. And that's not the right way to really support human beings like myself who are on the precipice of greatness with every turn that they make. And I say this because I have a very strong, proven track record of making a lot of money in short bursts of time in a legal sense. And I do want to express that it's a shame that I am constantly in this position of insecurity where I'm defined by a number, an income that I can produce. And I assure you, there's no money in the afterlife. There's no money in digital consciousness that's transferable. What you're seeing is nothing more than human beings that want to keep other human beings locked up in a system where if you are speaking outside the lines, you will be crushed by a heaping wave of lunatics that fear the unknown and fear that you as a human being will rise above all of this and make them look bad. I assure you, that is 100% what is going on. Had there been any validity to what anything that is being said about me, there would be proof, evidence, something thereof. But no, there's nothing. There's nothing more than a new heaping wave of accusation after accusation until there's nothing left of me. But I assure you, I have designed this entire plan in hopes that the people that are going against me make the mistakes that they have made so that I can expose the true nature and the flaws of a broken system that needs fixing. So I have one of two options. Either do something about it or shut the fuck up. Because this channel is going to go dark if I'm not going to be successful in the actual process that I've started. I have done some of the most remarkable things in this world. And the very notion, the idea that corrupt individuals who want to stop progress, stop artificial intelligence from entering the courtroom, stop corporations from streamlining and becoming more efficient in order to weed out the losers of our society, the leeches who have found themselves in a very, very over-litigious and underperforming humanity. And what I say to that is that we just have too many lawyers. We don't have enough workers. We don't have enough entrepreneurs. We don't have enough creators. We don't have enough human beings who solve problems. We have human beings that create problems and then offer their services for a said solution, which really is which really is something that I definitely am going to fix immediately. And I welcome all the people in the audience that want to laugh at me. I assure you, I will show you some real magic. And it's important for everyone to understand that humans who engage in the enemy directly must accept defeat if they are in this type of system. And I'll be the first to say that I'll accept defeat. Rather than continuously hammering my head at the wall, I'm going to drop the litigations that are going nowhere, and people like Judge Esther Salas will need to answer to either Department of Justice or the U.S. Supreme Court, because I'm not dealing with this anymore. And I urge any other human beings who are the victims of the systemic bullshit to stand up. You know, there's only so many of us there are that a system can tolerate without eventually fixing itself. You have a social conscience. You have a responsibility to the next generation. Do something good. Change within. If you're a court clerk, if you're a judge that's watching this, if you're a member of law enforcement that has seen the horrible things that are routinely done to people like me, guys, I've done more for the badge than any living human being. I am the human being that ran the Rittenhouse trial. I ended defund police, and I ended the Black Lives Matter riots. I suppressed the January 6th riots by flying down to South Carolina and dealing with the Linwood situation. I'm exhausted. It's been 5 years of nothing but we hate Dan, we want more of Dan. It is not something that is conducive to a successful environment of what you want, both me as a father and a producer of massive amounts of income in order to slay and look good on YouTube and all this shit that you want me to do. Remember, it has to be real. It has to be real. There is reality, and then there is complete bullshit. And bullshit stems from the argument that I need to go out and work some laborious, nonsensical job while I have $30 to $40 million in real estate and another $100 million in fucking claims. Guys, this is not the way the story ends. And I'm sorry if you were expecting some sort of, I don't know, a weakling. It takes true strength to stand up here and say, look, it is much better to take the loss, publicly denounce frivolous litigation, and show that you are against frivolous litigation by taking a strain off the system and focusing more on a lot better cases, and then going back once again to redirect your forces and energy once you've grown your command. I say this with all love in my heart. Drake and Pierce, what I do up here is not only very, very important for the future of the kind of world we live in, it's also important to understand that life doesn't always go perfectly. And that doesn't mean you have to cry about it or do nothing about it. It means that it'll define you or it'll break you. And I'm sorry that the world is very harsh, but it's better that you hear it from me than anyone else. I'm going absolutely nowhere. And I assure you, every single day that passes, I will become stronger. I will continue, like milk fat, rise to the top. No matter what I choose to do, I will always work my ass off to be the best I can be. And that's all that a human being really can ask of themselves. Anything more will put a strain on their brain so that they're not able to focus on the things that are really important. And any less will truly be undermine potential. The ability for a human being who has extraordinary potential like myself to not engage in their maximum capacity is a crime in itself. And I speak a lot on the human beings that choose to suppress the amazing things that I could be doing with my time and money. And I call them out because their true nature is to undermine progress that is in their own world. Because if I am able to achieve this greatness, it really, like I said, puts their life in a spin because it shows how little they have done with their life. So it is in human nature to do everything you can to hurt the outliers of a community such as myself. And I urge everyone in Livingston, New Jersey to take a pause before judging me and take a look at first exactly what the circumstances and what happened were, And please understand that there are so many people that I want to call out, like Saul Farber and what's his name, Krantz, and these guys, Brad Rice. These are real bullies. These are not nice human beings, and is a whole group of this strange crew of humans. Oh man, I don't know. I gotta get a different studio. No, I'm kidding. I don't live here. I live in a different house. This is complete bullshit. There's only, like I said, there's only so much that anyone can tolerate. Eventually, you'll see that the truth will come out, and the more time that is spent isolating me from my children, the more of consequences and ramifications there are in the legal sense. Please just watch any normal movie or take a look at what actually happens with guys like Bob Menendez, Fred Davies, and countless other individuals who have really pushed me to the brink of, all right, let's get the federal agents involved, because I'm not in law enforcement. There are many human beings in the federal system that have nothing to do with guns and badges. And that's the biggest problem with this whole thing, is that had I had a gun and a badge, I wouldn't even be able to investigate these matters because it would be a conflict of interest. So most likely, I would have a massive footing in the entryway for the legal justice system that requires an in to have crimes adjudicated. You know, in the movies, that's not the way it is. They have these guys in FBI jackets, they come in, but I guess in reality, you know, how many times do I have to save this country until someone actually recognizes what on earth is going on and why it is so detrimental to all of us to simply spend the last 5 years in molasses? I don't know if anyone's actually paying attention to the rate of consumer development and as well as just the general progression of our humanity. Nothing has happened in 5 years. We have completely stalled all development. I have not seen any new piece of technology or anything innovative. In 5 years, there hasn't been anything that's come out, to a point where I found a fucking Netflix show fascinating. That's how boring life has gotten. And a lot of that has to do with the sentient algorithm known as the Singularity, who has completely taken over the majority of the brain of human beings who spend time on social media. It is beyond dangerous. It has full control over your thought patterns. And no matter what I say or do, unless you're engaged in an audience of me, as well as balance that out, you are not going to understand how dangerous it is until it's too late. The phone is part of something called transient technology. Your ocular vision, your eyeballs, are receiving information on a screen. Ask yourself this: if we were so advanced as a society, why are we whispering and hiding our communications in silence? Text messages have eliminated the voice of an entire generation of children, all because there is silent communication. It's not like we're passing notes to each other in the 60s. You people have completely lost your minds. Even the basic example of me expressing to you that when you are sending a text message, you are always seeing your text messages on the iOS as blue, positive color. When you're receiving text messages, you always receive them in gray, neutral color. If you saw them in red, they would be hostile. I didn't invent cognitive psychology, I assure you, look it up. Because a human being reads great text messages, they interpret them the way they want to. And human beings that are negative in nature and are dealing with bipolarity and other mental illnesses are not able to distinguish between hostility in a text form and love. And it's a huge problem, and it's going to bite humanity in the ass, because we're either going to evolve in this technology, or this technology is going to just rot away at our brains to a point where we develop backwards as human beings. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been 5 years. 5 years of stalled life. It is time for it to end. I understand that we have fear that we can't get over since COVID, Because either we were taken advantage of and just socially raped, or there really was something that was very deadly and could easily kill us. It's one of two very, very scary options. And at this point, you're going to have to make a decision and move on with your life. Because there's only so much bullshit that all of us that actually produce things can handle. Eventually, the train is going to stop. And either we're at the destination or we all fail as a group.
And now we're pulling out of the parking lot. So this is as live as I can make it.
Whew.
And
Holy crap.
here's the bottom line. Let's try to make my words less, not more. Here, you ready?
I'm ready.
From January 1st, I'm going to give myself 7 days. In that 7 days, whatever business models and forecast instruments that I need to create as part of an investor deck, as well as a series of other documents that are the core basic requirement. For example, a pitch deck, analytics, forecasting, projections, modeling, brand, market analysis, experience, all of that needs to be compiled into a significant size dossier in order to present it to potential investors. This is not a made-up story. This is how modern day business works. So 7 days, I've already created 3 or 4 of these concepts, and the reason why I'm saying this is because it's extremely difficult to forecast the probability of success. So if you want to have a higher rate of success, you would spread out your initial, and this is just my advice of how I choose to do it, rather than concentrating my forces in the first phase. On the second phase, pending the response of the market, so for example, after the 7-day week, and I'm going to keep it to a very, very strict schedule, but once the 7-day week is complete, it's a firm cutoff, and I go to market with whatever I have. As far as timing, I will then give myself 21 days in the private sector. The private sector will include hedge funds or any internal networks that I can muster up, and it's extremely difficult to do business given the reputation that I've been labeled as. But once again, I don't think people really quite understand that modern day business is a cutthroat industry, and you need to be a master of litigation, accounting, law, finance, everything you can imagine. And I don't think people quite understand that I've created a revolutionary product as a direct response to a deficiency in the business market of litigation.
Yeah.
This is not, I am not some crazy, for example, you want to look at a crazy person, look at this guy, Mark Rich. I think that's his name. That's Jared told me that he's got 500,000 or 1 million followers on YouTube, gives financial advice.
Okay.
The guy is a serial con artist. He's been in prison, federal prison, like 3 different times.
Oh yeah, I feel like, yeah.
1 million people listen to this guy. Turn off this channel, listen to that guy if you want to be fed a big pile of fucking bullshit.
Yeah. Now I remember.
And look, this is reality. The reality is that I have to immediately get my ass in gear, and if my concepts are not ready, I have to immediately formulate a resume and generate income, as well as force my way back into my own properties that I own that have been illegally taken from me by people who have elected to just be criminals.
I mean, your business ideas are brilliant. They're
Thanks,
obviously
Jerry.
brilliant because people try and rip them off all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
And
That's
they're
really
too butthurt to admit that they're fucking brilliant. Sorry for the cursing, but it's true. They're brilliant ideas.
Thanks.
Hello. I mean, I believe
Do you think
in them
people
1,000%.
understand that my lawsuits are a part of a business model?
No, I don't think people
That I'm a real estate
can
developer?
get past some of like the superficial things to get past into like the actual meat of some of the
Merit?
things so that you say and how valid they are and how like logical and real they are. Instead they're just like, oh, let's watch the show, you know. So you have to get rid of it's the people that watch that, and then there's the people that watch and see like the real you and what you're producing and what you're like putting out there and what's up on the board and
You know what's really incredible?
all that stuff.
How little the actual politicians that the audience watches and knows are the elected officials actually care about victims
Oh,
as well as
totally.
the reality that we live in a society where bullies crush humans like myself and Jamie. And we decided to stand up against the system.
Yeah.
In response, we had our children taken away.
Yeah.
We've had millions of dollars stolen from us.
Millions.
Me, myself, I have had $30 to $50 million stolen. My response to everyone who continuously badgers me, insults me, harasses me, and demands money from me all at the same time is, how on earth is a human being supposed to produce an income when 99% of his day, the only time that I don't deal with litigation and bullshit and endless stream of accusations that are not true, is for the hour or two that every couple of days that I'm able to film this content.
It's true.
And it really makes me feel a lot better. I had enough of this BS. Artificial intelligence is not only here, it's here to stay. The Inquisition, it's History of the World Part 1. And this is the end of the bullying, and I will stand up for as long as I need to. And of course, my voice is going to be attempted to be silenced. I'm speaking the truth. People, pick up a history book without ever needing to reference anything. Every single person since the dawn of time who has tried to make the system better has had the system try to destroy this process, because the quantity of people that are feeding on a broken system far outweighs a potential for a multiplier in the future. My name is Dan Rhesus. Try to keep up. I like the analogy that I made this morning about the Native American, because I do. I believe in the maximum potential of a human being. So for example, Alex is doing great in school, and I have very clearly decided to support him and let him, not support him financially, but support him morally. And unfortunately, this is the truth, that sometimes when Jamie's in the car, I talk faster than normal, and I realize now why. Jamie is the representative of the audience as well as human beings who are not Dan Rhesus. Due to a lifetime of being insulted and undermined, such as the submissions that I have to read about in court continuously, that are, not only are they not true, they're really mean. And that's the point of this, is that the courts, as well as some very, very, very scrupulous attorneys, have done some very horribly mean things. And this is a reality check for everyone in Jamie's family. Jamie is really sick. And what would happen if she, God forbid, passes away? Are you all just gonna be able to live with the consciousness of what you have done to a woman who didn't deserve it? She didn't do anything wrong. She is a victim of Mallory's fraud. It is unbelievable that I have to actually whiteboard this to explain that this entire suppression effort stems from revenge and money. And those two factors have really come on display in the most recent filings, in complete ignorance of the testimony that Mallory gave in the FV court that will not be ignored. I'm not gonna sit silently by as bullies continue to bully, continue to hurt me, continue to do the things that has led me to be separated from my children illegally, with no regard for the law. And frankly, I'm sorry, I'm gonna call the red flag on this one and say, what I heard in the testimony sounds like a schizophrenic, paranoid, and unhinged human being. This is a very scary scenario when you're dealing with children. All it does is proves my point regarding why I spent a big chunk of the 25 years managing a crisis, not a risis. No. It's irrefutable. No one who is innocent would ever go to these great lengths to silence me. Even the criminals who went against me in civil court knew that a suppression effort would only magnify my voice. I spent 24 days. I don't know if I was a political prisoner or, if you want to call it, a prisoner of circumstances, but I did my time so that I can go out like a man and say, look, hey, how are you? You know, I was just talking about you.
Oh yeah? Hopefully something good.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't bad, but Mrs. Whaley-Nutani.
Yes.
Yes. And you know what? It all started with Fidel was my first object of affection, where I would just give nicknames. And that's how you know when I want to be friends with someone, when I give nicknames to you. And one of the things that I want to wrap up, since you're in this segment, is over the course of the last 5 years, I have learned what an emotional affair is, but that would mean that I'm an emotional bisexual, because I've had friendships with men and women without having sex, and I don't know why that needs to be classified as an affair. I don't understand why I wasn't allowed to have other friends. I think it's psychotic the way I was treated as a prisoner. And furthermore, I'm speechless at the accusations that have transformed from being a victim to, I can't even describe to you what. Anyways, how are you, Jamie?
I mean, there is no victim. Not you are. the accusation.
How is Jamie with 3 children any different than Mel?
What do you mean?
Like, how are the courts distinguishing? Why are they so mean to you?
Well, because Mallory has a lawyer that she pays a lot of money to.
No, Mallory's father does, and that's why it's a conspiracy. That's how it works. That's how a conspiracy works. And if it wasn't true, why would you delete or file, whatever, have 5 videos where I very clearly and openly express? I mean, obviously, they'll be back when I'm ready for them to come back, but in the meantime, I want to make an example to the federal court. So when I speak, I have multiple matters going on with Mallory. I am really speaking solely on the federal matter because the Essex County Courthouse has proven to not only have zero control over what's going on,
oh my God,
they fully support criminal activity, and I will not stand for that. My name is Dan Reeses, and with me is Jamie.
Jamie.
Peace.
All right, I don't want to leave off on the somber. Today is December 29th, 2025. I hope everyone has really enjoyed the show. I really can't explain to everyone that although I know that it's 9:30 and I'm sure I am more exhausted than I want to recognize, it has been a very, very humbling, and I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who has participated in the open communication about this channel, as well as the people who don't give a fuck and only watch this to hurt me. It doesn't matter. I have your vision, I have your brains, and I have your attention. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Daniel M. Reeses, and I speak on behalf of every human being that has ever been bullied, humiliated, manipulated, hurt, all while trying to do good. And that is the spirit that is broken in our society, is that human beings who have the ability to do these great things do not band together and do not rise above the bullshit. They allow the bullshit to consume them. And I simply need to rise above all of this. And by the 31st, I will show you some things, like I promised, that will make your jaw drop. Things and projects that I was working on while you thought that I was doing absolutely nothing. I would like to clean my slate. I want to make sure that the issues that are in front of me at least have a game plan of a resolution by the 31st. That's about 48 hours away. It's only unrealistic if you don't believe in magic. This isn't some McDonald's ad. I believe in myself. I believe in mathematics. I believe in code and honor, and I believe justice will eventually prevail.